Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. I'm just going to wait a few minutes here and let some people jump on the live stream. And then I'm going to be calling Jim Benvie, you guys. Jim Benvie from previously United Constitutional Patriots. Now he is with Guardian Patriots. And he is the man, the myth, the legend. You guys, he is like king of the border. They joke and call me queen of the border. This dude has the news in New Mexico. All this footage that you see, you guys, on my live stream all the time, I would say, oh God, what's my guess on percentage? Mm, I'd say a good 75%. What do you think, Mr. Atomic? Is from Guardian Patriots, Jim Benvie?
I'd say closer to 85.
That's his official statement, 85%. Um, but he was kind enough to agree to do a by phone interview with us tonight. I know you guys have heard him on these videos all the time when I post them, but I know there's been a lot of you that have asked a lot of questions in regards to that. So we're going to let him answer it. Martin says Trump 2020. That's right. That's right. Snafu says this is going to be awesome. Welcome, Snafu Snaps. Notice that wrench next to your name. Start playing and pushing things. Just don't cancel out my live feed, okay? Snappy Snaps is officially a moderator on the channel now. I mean, I just threw that at him the other night. I'm like, surprise, you're a moderator now. We got to get him going on this YouTube stuff as far as like the back end of it all so that he can, uh, you know, get his channel monetized and going. And I mean, it's going. I mean, it's cranking. But once he gets some technology, that way he can have some moderators and knows what to tell them what to do. You know what I mean? I think that's what I wanted to say. It didn't want to come out. Um, so, hi, Tammy. Hi, Gia. Hi, Kevin. You guys ready for Jim? Let's do this. Let's give Jim a call. He's been waiting. I got a little nervous because he started to do a live stream and I was like, oh my gosh, something's happening and I'm not going to be able to do this because you guys, if something happens while I'm on the phone with him, like if a group comes and crosses the border, he's going to have to hang up with me. So that's the only downfall. So let's hope we can have plenty of time. I have lots of questions I can ask him. Let's do this. I'm going to give him a call. He's expecting me, so.
Hello?
Hey, Jim.
Hey.
Hey, it's Laura.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. I got a little nervous that I wasn't going to get you at first there when I saw you go live a few minutes ago. I was like, uh-oh, something's going down.
Yeah, we're always got something going on. I'm on the border right now.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well,
when I'm in a vehicle, can you hear me? It's really windy down here. I just want to make sure you can hear me.
yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Okay. Yep, I can hear you okay.
Okay, cool. All right. So obviously, everybody that's watching my channel tonight knows that you are on the border and that if something goes down or something happens, that you're going to have to let us go, and we understand that. But I've got like a ton of questions I could ask you. Some of them are from me and some of them are from my watchers, so they're not necessarily in any particular order. But
Okay.
if there's anything that you can't answer for whatever reason, we obviously understand your safety and your security down there is the most important. So with that, if it's okay with you, I'll ask away.
Go for it.
All right, let's do this. So we know that you are on the New Mexico border. If you could kind of just geographically give everybody that's watching tonight an idea of the general area that you cover, that would be great.
Absolutely. Basically, I've been working the 4 miles between Sunland Park and El Paso, Texas. So there's an area there where the Rio Grande ends, where the river runs through Texas, and the very first land-to-land border, known as Monument 1, begins, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That particular area, there's absolutely no wall, and there's an area that runs straight through to another area where the wall ends. It's about a 4-mile sector of border consisting of desert, mountains, and well, in some cases, the city of El Paso if they get beyond the fence.
Okay.
So it's a very highly trafficked area. One part of it is considered a VIP entrance for the cartel, where you have no border. So some of the people that have more money to pay, they'll get dropped off and literally meet their Uber ride border patrol not too far from where they're getting dropped off. Then we have areas where there's drug smuggling and criminal smuggling and terrorists moving through, and that's the mountainous area that's between these two open areas of the border that are easily accessible. And then on the other side of the border, that's what they call a mid-entrance point, because there is some walking involved. There's a little bit of desert involved. But the one thing is, when the Border Patrol is busy, tied up like this, they don't have time to be worried about our national security. So our national security is completely exposed right now along several thousand miles of the border. And so that's just, unfortunately, that's our new reality that we have.
So now I noticed that you did a live stream earlier today where you showed the terrain. That particular area that you were specifically in, was that where you tend to see a lot of the spotters up in the mountain?
That's where the spotters are, and that's the trails that they use when they're smuggling drugs or they're smuggling people that have high criminal warrants that are trying to get in here. They don't want to get caught. The people that want to get caught typically will come in the large groups of people that are escorted, directly to the easier crossing areas, where they're going to send in a large group of, anywhere from 60 people, sometimes up to 400 people at one time. And what they do is they use that, so they tie up the Border Patrol and processing vans, and they take people off the field. It takes an average of 2 hours a person to process. So it's a very time-consuming operation. It ties up agents for several hours, and it's not a good situation. We got Border Patrol agents changing diapers and feeding bottles and doing everything except for what they're supposed to be doing, which is patrolling the border.
Exactly. Now, something that this is one of the questions that came from one of my viewers. They have seen videos from you and conservative Anthony that have both shown drones in the air down there. Can you explain to them where those drones come from and what their purpose is?
Yeah, there's speculation on what they're for. I mean, obviously, it's a new way to move quickly, to have eyes and ears on large areas where they don't have to have risk. They don't have to have people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line is that they are actually flying these drones in some cases as an extra charge to people trying to cross the border. So they say, "Hey, follow the drone." Other times it's because they're just trying to see where agents are positioned, where people are set up, so that they can move drugs or move whatever. And then in some cases we don't really know why they're flying the drones. Sometimes it doesn't make sense where they're flying the drones. But I can tell you, it started out with a couple of drones, and there's been nights out here where we've seen as many as 7 to 8 drones, in a row, parallel. These guys have, people discount the cartel and the amount of money they're making off of this. They're the biggest winners financially in this whole border crisis invasion that we have going on. And a lot of times they have better technology than the Border Patrol. And that's a fact. And they can sit over in Mexico. They can fly these drones. Now, if you're a U.S. citizen and you start flying a drone, you're going to get in trouble. But they seem to have drones all over the El Paso sector of the border. And it's just one of those things. There's nobody around to counter it because everybody's tied up dealing with 90% fake asylum claims.
Mm-hmm. Now, in relation to those drones, I know a lot of people have also asked why doesn't Border Patrol shoot those down? And now I can, of course, guess at the answer to that, but just they want to know what your thoughts are on that.
Okay. My answer is the same. is because of the fact that they're too busy. They don't have time to worry about the drones. I mean,
Yes.
they don't even have time to worry about areas of the border that aren't even open.
Okay.
Now, the other thing is we can't shoot things down if that close to the border. That would create what they call an international incident.
Yes.
And we can't have those on the border either. So, again, this is absolutely, it's an invasion. People are being lied to by every element of government. These anti-border people are saying that this is strictly a humanitarian crisis, that all of the people coming in are fleeing something or they're running for their lives. That simply is not true. 90% of the people coming in would never even qualify or make it if they were to have a judge sitting there when they came in. They'd be turned back around, deported, and sent back home. 10% of the people would legitimately qualify. And Laura, those aren't my numbers. These are numbers from Border Patrol and DHS.
Right.
So we're allowing 90% of the 100,000 and 109,000 people that came in last month are fraudulent, fake family units that I'm going to say 40% of the cases are probably children that have been recycled, mom and dad that really aren't married. They don't know much about each other. Most of these family units are being put together on the Mexico side. They provide a fake marriage. They give them a marriage certificate. They take a picture, and they rent them a kid who then gets recycled. And, a lot of these kids, in some cases, are being kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's the other story here that's not being told. They're not talking about the kids. No matter how you feel about the border, no matter how big a heart you think you have when it comes to just letting people come across and saying, oh, it's no big deal, we have room for them, we can feed them. These are good people. Okay, I don't consider good people that kidnap children, Laura. Okay?
Yes.
I have no, if you're willing to do that, what are you going to do to my kid when you're living next to me?
Excellent
taking
point.
and renting kids and making them go on long journeys that are dangerous, putting them into situations that are unknown, that's child endangerment by any standard.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, you're breaking the law by coming in here illegally in the first place. Secondly, we don't know enough about these people. Everybody is so comfortable with this processing that, because we process them all, then that instantly means that they've all been vetted, okay, before they're released. That's not necessarily true either, because a lot of these countries, they don't have the technology like we do, and they don't update it like we do. And so the backgrounds on a lot of these men that are coming through, by the way, single, carrying other people's kids, okay, we don't know, we just don't know enough about them.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people think that we're racist because we're down here, or, we're afraid of brown people, or, whatever. It's simply not the case. We're down here because the president declared a national emergency, and we came down here to see what that emergency was. And what that emergency is it's layered upon many different things. It's not just one thing. And so for people to understand that how complex this issue is, to understand the nature of it, the severity of it, and the fact that it's going to affect you, no matter what state you live in, you're going to be affected by this. Your city is going to be forced to take people, and you're going to be forced to give them health care. You're going to be forced to feed them. You're going to be forced to take care of them, and if there's criminals in those groups, you're going to deal with that crime rate increase as well. And so it's definitely an invasion. Part of the invasion is anti-border people trying to get power of the country. People say, well, how does that happen? They can't vote, right? Well, here's how it happens. 6 months after they get a court date that's 5 to 7 years out, they are then allowed to have a work permit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you get a work permit, what's the next step, Laura? You got to pay taxes, right?
Right.
Okay. So you get a tax ID number, much like a Social Security number. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next step is, well, we got to document the people living here, so they need a driver's license. Okay. So you can see where I'm going with this.
Oh yes.
Pretty soon, you're a full-fledged person. You have an address. You have a tax ID number, a driver's license. You're legit. The next step is allowing illegal aliens to vote, and it's already being brought front and center in a lot of states. It also opens us up to massive amounts of voter fraud. And those of you that are familiar with Minnesota, and if you saw what happened there in the 5th District, where Omar, whatever her name is, got elected. Okay, that's a perfect example. That was like the role model, the test model in Minnesota to see if they could gain control of power state by state, region by region, by using districts and having people sponsor people to come and live in certain locations. And so for those of you that don't think that that's what this is about, is a power grab, then you got to do your homework a little more and look into this. That's part of the reason that these people are coming here. That's why they're being
so much. We're going to win.
Here, and they're advertising in other countries for them to come here. This is an organized invasion. This isn't just a bunch of people from 50 different countries that woke up one day and decided, hey, let's go claim asylum in the United States. Okay? It's an expensive trip to get here. There's a lot of coaching that goes on the other side. Some of them are American attorneys that coach them before they come here so they know what to say. They're prepared on what to do when they encounter Border Patrol. This is a very, very, very organized, at this point, nonviolent invasion of the United States. It would be a lot different if they all had guns or they were all coming through the border violently. People would pay more attention to it. But because there's no violence in it yet, they're able to create this narrative that the churches and the Salvation Armies and everybody needs to donate to get these people food and housing and basically make the illegal first over the Americans. The homeless vets that are sleeping in the streets tonight, our kids and families that are here legally, those citizens are getting put behind, and so all the resources that are being given to illegals that are just coming across the border are being favored and prioritized over American citizens.
Yes. It's a shame. It really is. One of the other questions that my viewers had was how do you feel Border Patrol is affected from what you've seen? Like, do you think their morale is down right now? That it's, they're having it more and more difficult.
Yeah, because they haven't hired any in 7 years. Like in this sector here, these are all veteran Border Patrol agents. There was times where, they maybe encountered, 5,000 a year, okay? And right now they're encountering 109,000 in a month, okay? So when you talk about that you haven't increased your staff, you're doing things that it's not even part of your job title, okay? And you watch the country, everybody's debating it, and everybody's got a great idea. Everybody's had a great idea for years on how to solve it. But the country's so far apart on things that really for the Border Patrol, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. They don't see the light, okay? Because they don't see Congress coming together. I mean, you've got people out there saying, well, Border Patrol should just be without guns. They should be civilians, and this is what they should have as a humanitarian role, and just open the border and let everybody in. Let's not worry about where they came from or whether they're a criminal or whatever. We'll have ports of entry. We can have security there. But as far as the rest of the border is concerned, what do we really care? They're just Americans. Or they're not they don't say they're just Americans. They say they're just poor people looking for a better life.
Right.
That's the line they use.
Right.
And so yeah, I mean, if you're a Border Patrol agent and, you're screaming the alarms, for months telling people that, we're losing control of the border, okay? There's people coming in. There's nowhere to put them. We don't, you can build us a new processing facility, but if we fill that facility in 30 days, then you better give us money for another one. Okay, it's kind of like if you got a faucet that won't stop with just running water. You can give me a bucket, but that doesn't stop the water from running. That doesn't stop the flow.
Right.
I need more buckets and more buckets and more buckets and more buckets. Okay, the wall alone is not going to stop. The wall is a big part of it, yes. Huge. You're not going to stop it without the wall and the asylum law changes that have to be made. Okay? That's what's going to stop the monetizing of children. That's what's going to stop the majority of the child trafficking. That's what's going to discourage people from making the long journey from the different countries if they know that it's going to be difficult to get into the United States, if you're actually going to have a legitimate reason to come in, if you're going to try to claim asylum, that we're actually going to, put you through a little bit of a test before we issue you a court date that's 5 to 7 years out. I mean, right now we've got 100,000 people waiting in line, cases that are backloaded that haven't been heard, and half those people, probably 70% of them, will never show up to court. They're just going to disappear into the cracks of society.
Yep.
So that's a huge thing as well. So yeah, I mean, it's a bad deal for everybody.
Definitely.
And now what we see is we have Border Patrol agents calling in sick. That's another issue.
Yes.
And it's amazing to me that we haven't seen the Border Patrol just walk away from their job. People are not supportive of the Border Patrol. There's a racist narrative out there that, they're nationalists, that they're racist. Anything that happens to an immigrant, of course, it's Border Patrol's fault. Border Patrol can't do anything right. They had an article the other day where there was a baby sleeping outside being fed milk, and they had aluminum foil, but they nevertheless sleeping outside. Well, they want to blame Border Patrol for that. Okay, that's not Border Patrol's fault. Border Patrol has been telling and warning the country that we are full, we can't take anybody, this is a crisis, it's an emergency, and then you've got other anti-border governors and congressmen and people like Chuck and Nancy Pelosi that are telling the United States there's nothing to see here, there's nothing to worry about, there's no emergency, this is just an act of racism, and it's just a manufactured crisis by Donald J. Trump, and that's the farthest thing from the truth. Nothing down here is manufactured, nothing here is a political stunt. This is really happening, and America needs to wake up to it. If you don't wake up to it, if you don't pay attention to what's happening on this border, this is not something you can just close your eyes and go and sleep at night and pretend doesn't exist. Those days are over. We have a problem right now. That's why we're down here on the border. And even since we've been down here, we've been fought tooth and nail by everybody just for showing videos that are showing the truth. And they don't want people to see it. They don't want people to change their mind that, yeah, maybe there is something to see on the border. They just want it out of sight and out of mind.
Are you...
Unfortunately, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, are you still seeing reporters come down there and people openly, against what you're doing down there?
Yes, absolutely. It's a daily basis. It's every day. Every day I got somebody wanting to come down here, 2 or 3 national news agencies or whatever, and all of them want to, portray, there's a group down here and they're racist and they're armed vigilantes, they're an armed militia. And, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care what they call me or they call our group or whatever. Just don't call me late for dinner. That's what I say. Okay? But at the end of the day, we're down here for one reason. We're Americans who care about the damn border. We care about our Border Patrol. We care that Americans are not lied to, that they know the truth about what's going on down here. And the other thing is that, we as a country, we fight everybody else's war. We give everybody money. When they need money, we give them money. Our soldiers go here, they go there. But right now, we have one of the biggest betrayals of our national security happening on our border right now. And where's the Army? Where's the National Guard? Where is the outcry from America? Where are the angry Americans that in past years would have been down here in a heartbeat stopping this? Where are they at? And that's the point that this is at. And, we can't just ignore what's happening here. We can't. This is every day. It's going on every night. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't care how far north you think you live in the United States, and you think that this is only going to be a problem for the border city, you're wrong. You're out of your mind. And you can mark my words on this. The next 2 to 3 months, you're going to start seeing buses, possibly airplanes full of people that you've never seen before, coming to your neighborhood, looking for money from your churches, from your Salvation Armies, from different things. The city may say, well, we have to declare an emergency and get federal funds to take care of these people. And bottom line is somebody has to feed, house, and take care of each one of them. And keep in mind, right now, they're getting preference over the U.S. citizens. That's the other thing. And not everybody who comes in here means well, okay? I can tell you that, too. I'm sure a lot of them are good people. I'm sure a lot of them were lied to about what would happen when they got here. But remember, the ultimate game plan here is power. And the people that want the power, these anti-border Democrats that want the power, they don't care about the sovereignty of the United States. They don't care about the infrastructure of the United States. They don't care about you. They sure as hell don't care about the illegals that are coming through that they pretend to care about. Because if they did, there would be more facilities for them, and they wouldn't be packing them in like cattle. Okay? The other thing is that they would have the National Guard down here, even if it was just in a civilian role, to help out with processing, feeding tents, medical tents, things that the military could do and would be able to free up some of the Border Patrol to actually do their job, which is to stop the drugs, stop the terrorists, stop the smuggling, and stop, threats along the border that are serious threats. This nonviolent invasion is a fake threat because we're bringing in a lot of diseases, we're bringing in a lot of criminals, people that we don't even know they're criminals yet. Like I said, I can't, it's like beating a dead horse. We have no national security because of it. And so normally that's the time when America wakes up and says, well, wait a minute, I guess having a border isn't racist. I guess maybe America has always had a border, and what makes now different than any other time in history? Why aren't we allowed to have a border? And then secondly, when our border is being lost, or when they're losing control of the border, who says Americans don't have a right to defend it?
Right. Now, one of the questions that was in the live stream chat room as you were speaking, they wanted to know, I guess this person's been watching my channel and watching your videos, but they wanted you to explain how they the cartels will distract Border Patrol in order to get their stuff through, or get I guess in a sense like use things as a smoke screen.
Right, that's what I was just talking about. What they do is they have these large groups who've already paid that they want to bring to the border. So they'll use a big group of 50 to maybe 150 people, and they'll come in. The coyotes will bring them in. They'll drop them off, and some of them will sit down. There might be a few that scatter, but while the Border Patrol is dealing with these people, and it usually takes several trucks, they may go over to the other side of the mountain and let another group at the same time of 50 to 100 people in. So now they've basically tied up both sides of the mountain. Okay, so all your Border Patrol's tied up. Sometimes there's no Border Patrol there. Sometimes they're it's 15, 30 minutes before they can even get to a group. But let's just assume Border Patrol was there. Okay, if they're there and there's enough of them, they respond, and then they're busy. They've got to sit down, do the count, put wristbands on them, and then they got to put them into the processing plant. While they're doing all of this, the mountain is wide open, and so now they've tied up Border Patrol. They've distracted them essentially, and whatever you're trying to get through, whether it's cocaine or opioids, or maybe you got a terrorist organization you want to move into the United States, whatever it is, you have a wide open border to do what you need to do. Now, it gets better than that, okay? We've taken down the checkpoints down here. We used to have kind of a backup system where, people were driving out of town, all the cars would get pulled over, the cars would be scanned. It was kind of like if you made it across the border, this is our secondary, this is to make sure we didn't miss you, okay?
Right.
Those are gone. Our agents are gone from those. We don't have any more checkpoints. And so there's a lot of things that we're missing in our national security that's putting the overall security of the country at risk, probably at a greater risk than it's ever been. And Americans just don't seem to understand the crisis. They don't understand all the talk they're hearing on TV because it's half of it is so much filled with so much lies and fake news that, unless you really understand what's happening on the border here able to see it, which is why I do those videos. It's the only reason I do them, is to show people exactly what's going on here so that they can understand it in a simple, easy to understand way. Because the border is a complex issue. But when you simplify the border at the end of the day, the only thing you need to understand is it's bad what's happening, it is an invasion, and it's going to affect you. If you can understand those three parts to what I'm telling you, it's bad, it's an invasion, and it's going to affect you no matter what, then you can understand why the time for relying on Congress, the time for, having these stupid border debates on TV and talk shows and the talking heads and all this other crap, it's all over with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If the American people don't get mad now, they're never going to get mad, and we're going to lose the country. That's where we're at. That's how serious this is. And for people that don't believe me, then you need to start paying attention. And if you still can't figure it out, then you need to take a trip to the border for yourself. Look at it for yourself. Talk to the Border Patrol agents for yourself. But if you're listening to the MSM News and you're listening to, these liberal anti-border Democrats that have an interest in power at any cost, then you're going to be a deceived sheeple.
Right. Now, what is your advice for somebody that wants to get involved or come down there or help in some way?
Well, the biggest thing is, number one, educate yourself. That's the best way to help yourself. The second thing is that the people that are on the border working, share the information, share the content, share the videos. That's one of the things I like that you do, Laura, is that you're sharing the information. That's the biggest thing. If the information ain't out there, if the videos ain't out there, if the proof isn't out there, what you're saying means nothing because you have no credibility. So, showing it live, it's not my word, it's not your word. This is what's really happening. Thirdly, if you want to get involved, there's lots of ways you can get involved. One, get angry. Start calling and blowing up your people in your state, your representatives. Let them know that you're pissed off, you're mad. And sometimes not even enough to stop there. You also have to understand that part of this is about constitutional rights.
Mm-hmm.
You guys see constitutional rights being violated all the time. People get arrested. Their constitutional rights are violated. People do things. Their constitutional rights are violated. People have got to start getting angry when they see their fellow Americans having their constitutional rights violated. Otherwise, all you're doing is giving credence to the idea that who you know and how much money you have is more important than your constitutional rights. Okay? And that's why the Constitution itself is faltering as an obsolete document that can be changed with time, because that's what these kids are being taught in school, that we need to be a progressive nation, and the things that we did in the olden days are things for then and not now. Well, you and I both know, Laura, that the Constitution is what we're here to protect, okay?
Right.
And that's it doesn't matter if your enemy is foreign or domestic, okay? You have to protect the Constitution of the United States. And one of the things that we are to protect our country from is anything that threatens our borders, anything that threatens our national security. And that includes if we have a political party that is betraying the United States of America and its national security. And that is exactly what is happening right now. If you are an anti-Democrat or anti-border government official who is telling Americans that this is not affecting their national security, who is telling Americans that this is not a crisis, who is telling Americans that we can open up the border without consequences, you are committing treason against the United States of America. That is not debatable. That is in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So why aren't Americans mad, Laura? Why don't we get mad anymore when we see the Constitution openly being violated? Why do we not get mad?
That's the $1 million question, Jim.
It's a big question, because Americans have been dumbed down. They have been desensitized to their own rights, and they wonder how certain things can happen. You might know a friend who's been arrested of something, or something has happened recently, and you said, I didn't know they could do that. It's because they probably can't do that. But if you're not mad and you don't do anything about it, and you think that it's just the old equal justice for all. We're not living in that country anymore. We're losing that country. Okay? The old America is being lost, and the damage here is something that the true Americans are going to have to stand up and fight for. And if you're willing to get involved, if you're willing to educate yourself, you're willing to share what's going on, you're willing to blow up the political officials that you can hold responsible, that's a great step. If you have the time and resources and you can come help on the border, there's lots of places on the border that need help. There's lots of different groups helping the border. You know, I'm not the only one. I've never tried to promote myself as an individual. I've never tried to promote one group. I'm not about groups. This is about the border. We are the Guardian Patriots, but I support everybody who's on the border. I don't care what you're doing. You're an American. You're down there. I had a hard time with that in the beginning of this whole thing. They kept wanting to call us something, and we had to have a name. We were a militia, and we were this or that. And I said, no, we're Americans who are on the border. We're volunteering our time. Some are vets, some are law enforcement, some are just American citizens down here. But they wanted to just keep digging and digging and digging and digging because it's an attack on who is working to expose the truth. So don't come to the border with the attitude that you're not going to get attacked. Don't come to the border with the attitude that you're going to get a lot of support. There are people out there that support you, but there are very powerful people that are well-funded who don't support you, and you're probably going to end up with a bad image by the time you're done. You know, and you got to have tough skin to be down here because it's not a, you're not fighting a common cause war. Right now, most of America is still asleep to this cause, and there's a few of us down here that are trying to expose it, and it's a war. It's a war.
Do you believe there's any coming back from where we are now? Do you think America can fix this?
I think an angry America can. A complacent America can't. It'd have to be a really angry America. They would have to really rattle and make a lot of noise, and really there would have to be some intervention in this very, very, very soon. I don't think we can wait till 2020. Right. I don't think that's an option. Okay, once they're here, the one thing about the people that are here, they're fine until you tell them no. Okay, and there's so many of them coming in. The idea that we could just later on have some kind of a roundup, that's not reality. What they're concerned about right now is bringing in as many people as they possibly can. Every day that goes by that we don't do something is one more day that thousands and thousands of people come in. We're creating good, large-sized cities every month. I mean, you got to think about that, people. I know that for some people, you hear a number like 109,000. That doesn't mean much. Think of a city. How many new cities can we add in the next 12 months that are people that have not assimilated to our culture? Most of them don't speak English. Most of them, they come in flying different flags. They have different cultural values. They don't understand our laws. They don't understand, traditions, that we celebrate certain holidays. They know their holidays, but they don't know our holidays. And they don't have really an interest in becoming a citizen the legal way. And some of them are just here. Maybe they think they are going to go to work, take the job, make a little money, send it back home, and go home. There's just so many different reasons people are here. But the fact of the matter is, we don't have a lot of time to fix the country from this, or fix it from the invasion, Laura. I don't know if there is any coming back from it. It's just going to depend on how hard Americans still have the resolve to fight. Right. A lot of people have never seen war, so that's been out of sight, out of mind. We've been lucky enough to fight battles overseas. A lot of people have this sense that America can never be touched, and so Americans, the last real event for America was September 11th. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Right.
And a lot of people have forgot what happened September 11th and what it did. Unfortunately, some of those September 11th elements are being welcomed right back into the country.
Yep.
Very easily and in large numbers because we don't have any border security. And so, for America to recover from this, a lot of pissed off Americans, people that are willing to go boots on the ground and get dirty. You know, that's what we are. We're boots on the ground because we're done talking about it. We're done. You know, we're in action now. We've decided we're going to take the bull by the horn, and we're in the flames. And but the fact of the matter is that's where we're at. If the Congress won't act and the president can't get any support from anybody to act, then it's up to we the people. And we have to hold our government accountable and those that are responsible for treason against our country. And once America fails to do that, then yes, we have failed the nation, and that's when we'll lose our country. People can still have some resolve, and people can still make time to get involved in saving their country, then we have a chance. I mean, I believe there's enough Americans out there who understand what this means, what we're doing, and they're not that dumb. You know, I hate to use that word dumb. It insults people, but you're dumb if you don't understand what this is going to do to the country.
That's
you're
right.
dumb if you think everybody coming through the border is your friend and has good intentions for you and your family. Okay, you're dumb if you think this country has enough money to put hundreds of thousands of new people that aren't Americans on welfare. You're dumb. Okay, you're dumb if you think it's a good thing to drain churches and charitable organizations to the point of zero, taking care of illegal immigrants over homeless veterans and children and families in America. You're dumb. Okay? And so if that insults you, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
I completely agree with you. Now, one of my people in the chat here wanted to know what the scariest or most like heartbreaking thing is that you've seen, other than we obviously know that there are children that are being trafficked, but is there a specific event or a specific thing that you saw that really got you?
Well, you know, I hate to say it, but yes, I can't stand, you know, my biggest pet peeve in this as far as victims on their side is the kids. Now, I've seen some women, too, that have come in pretty rough, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's tough to see as well. But the kids, you think of your own kid. If you were a mom and dad and your kid went missing, how many parents in this audience would rent their kid to take a 10,000-mile journey to another country? You probably wouldn't. So that tells us most of the kids are most likely kidnapped, even though this is me talking now. I can't prove that, Laura.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you, most parents don't give up their kids like that. Doesn't matter how much money it is. Okay, you're not gonna give your kid to a complete stranger and say, "Here, take my kid 10,000 miles away, leave the country with them, take a dangerous journey, and then send them back when you're done." Okay, so that tells me that the cartel, a lot of these kids they've been kidnapped and they're trafficking the kids and they're selling them and recycling them. Somewhere out there's a parent who's looking for their child. Okay?
Right.
But some of the sad things I've seen is people running with their kids in backpacks in these mountainous hills and jumping down the hill when their full weight of their body is pressed up against a little tiny infant sliding down a pile of rocks. Okay?
Ooh, yeah.
It's the taking them through a long walk and not giving them any water or putting them in that or it's cold outside, the kid doesn't have a jacket on, doesn't have any shoes on. That stuff's hard to see. We had a woman that actually collapsed in camp. She actually came into our camp and almost died. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Younger lady. That happened. We've had people chase us with guns up in the hills. Every day down here is different. It's different. It's always, once you think you've seen it all, you see something different.
Yeah.
It's a sad situation. Everybody thinks I'm just this evil guy that has no compassion for humanity or people. And that's not the truth. I care about people a lot, but I also realize that the only way that I'm going to stop these people from coming into the country expecting something that's not real, that can't be delivered to them, is that we've got to tell them no. We have to send a message no.
Right.
And that's the only way they're going to stop grabbing the kids. It's the only way the kids are going to quit making the trips. That's the only way that we're going to prevent the crisis that's inevitably here every American out there. We can't feed the whole world. You can't take care of the whole world, Laura.
Right. Right.
That's the point. How many Americans if China said today, we're going to leave our country, we're going to come in by the plane loads, and we're all coming to the United States? How many Americans, as much as you're not racist to Chinese people, but how many people would just agree to that today and say, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. Bring the whole continent of China over.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Excellent point.
Would you call them a racist? Would you call them a racist? Would you say that they're out of their mind? I mean, how many Americans, if we put that a vote, to allow that? Or for that matter, any country. I'm not just saying China, but I'm just saying, would you allow Russia to move here?
Heck no.
All of Russia just empty the whole.
People would say, hell no. They'd be up in arms. They wouldn't have it.
Exactly. That's the point. That's the point. America never voted for open borders. I was not aware of any vote that America took to say, should we have an open border?
Exactly.
And so, if America hasn't voted for an open border, my question is this. How is it even possible that we have an open border right now? And you're going to say, what do you mean, Jim? Well, right now we have an open border. Because right now our border says, you cross foot into the United States, you have rights. Well, I wasn't aware that illegal immigrants had rights, but I guess now they have rights.
Right.
Okay? The right is you have the right to claim asylum, and because of that, okay, you're going to be inconvenienced by a little trip to processing. But essentially, we're going to release you, okay? Mm-hmm. So minus the little trip to processing, we're going to release you. That is an open border. That is the closest thing that you can get to already having an open border, okay? There's no penalty being passed out if you lied to the federal agent about your asylum claim. There's no penalty being dished out because it's as simple as we don't have room, we don't have time, we don't have enough agents, we don't have enough processing space. We're going to give you a coupon for a court date, and we're going to get you a sponsor. We're going to get you out of here and get you somewhere coming to a state near you. That's where we're at, Laura. So when people say, why do we need a wall? The wall is a huge part of slowing down large groups of people that try to cross. That gives the Border Patrol better ability to manage the flow of traffic coming in and out of the country. Does it stop everything? Absolutely not. But is it 100% necessary? Yes, it is. Where we have wall, it works, and it works very well. So spending $5 billion that Trump wanted way back to get some wall built, that was not a waste of money. That would have been a very good investment because the country needs wall to help the Border Patrol. They've asked for the border barrier. That's for them.
Right.
But you have got to also include in that changes to the asylum law.
Yes.
And even if you are a Democrat, I remember a kind of a moderate Democrat party that still had common sense. And I want to know where the hell those guys are.
Right.
Okay? Where are those Democrats at? Because the Democrats that I see out there today, they're going off the deep end.
Yes, absolutely. Very extreme deep end. I'd agree. Now, I know that your time is precious out there, but I had a couple people ask this these last two things. It's kind of like a two-part question. People wanted to know how Larry is doing, and then somebody also wanted to know how Athena is.
Oh, okay. Athena is doing very well.
Good.
Athena's doing great. And so we're very proud of her. She is the number one catcher
Yes.
as far as dogs are concerned. Athena's doing wonderful. And then what was the other question you say?
Is there any update on Larry? People wanted to know how Larry is.
Not. I haven't heard anything recently. He's still being held without bail. And I believe he when they cleared the courthouse because of the bomb threat, he fell and hit his head. And I guess he was having some amnesia problems. I will say this. Even though we're the Guardian Patriots and there still is a United Constitutional Patriots group that's still active, what I will say is that they are raising money because one of the problems that Larry has, he's got I hate to say this, but he had a crappy attorney. Okay?
Right.
He needs a good attorney. He needs somebody that knows the Constitution, can get in there. His constitutional rights were violated,
Yes.
To hold him without bail for what he's doing, he's a political prisoner. And what I've recommended that they do over there at the UCP is I told them to set up a trust account specifically for Larry's defense fund, and maybe in the meantime they'll find a volunteer attorney somewhere out there.
Yeah.
But if you can volunteer to help out Larry Hopkins, he's the commander of the UCP, the one that had the trailer that started the initial movement on the border to get people down. He's 70 years old. He's it's a bad situation what happened to him. They went back 2 years. They wanted to find anything they could do to arrest somebody on the border to get the photo op. And so they went back to something from 2 years ago that they didn't even have enough to charge on. And they made up a charge. The grand jury indicted him like 2 weeks after he was actually taken into custody. So
Right.
it's a real sad deal. It shouldn't happen in America, but this is the type of government we're dealing with right now. They wanted the political statement, and if you don't believe me, read the Attorney General's statement, Hector Boderas. Did you read what he said?
Yes.
He said, Larry Hopkins should not be on the border around family and kids with guns. Well, everybody who's out here knows that Larry Hopkins never carried a gun on the border.
Right.
He simply did the cooking. He had a radio show that he did, and he was more or less he took care of the campsite.
Right.
And
Right.
so, but they had to get something, and they made it look like it was border related, but it wasn't border related, and that's where the fake news came in to do their job. So, UCP, United Constitutional Patriots, has, I believe, a donation going for him. And if you want to head over there and donate to that, I'm all about trying to help him out any way that we possibly can, regardless of the fact that I'm now Guardian Patriot.
Yes, correct.
So,
Well, I want to thank you so much for, giving us an hour of your time. I know that's a lot of a precious time to you because your day is continuously going and you're always busy on the border and talking with news, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time to, come on and answer all our questions and give us the lowdown about everything that's going on down there.
Oh, absolutely, Laura. Anytime, we're here.
All right.
So,
okay.
Thank you guys for, thank you guys for listening in. And like I said, talk to your friends about the border because it's a real deal down here, guys.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
Take care and be safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Yep.
Okay, you guys, that was Jim Benvie from Guardian Patriots. He just spent almost an hour of his time just giving us the lowdown of what's going on the border. He is kind of at what would you call that? I guess the Y, I don't know.
Apex.
The apex, thank you. Where New Mexico, El Paso, and Mexico kind of all come together right there. It's called the Anapra Gap, I believe, where the wall ends right there. You guys, that's where it's about a 4-mile stretch of the border where he has been for the last few months, documenting everything that's going on down there. That is the sole purpose of him being down there, is literally to document everything that is happening down there and to help be the eyes and ears to Border Patrol. Because like I've told you guys on my channel before, they will assign one lonely Border Patrol agent to miles at a time, okay? And as Jim talked about tonight, they will use every possible tactic to distract that Border Patrol and tie them up that they can. They'll send over a couple people as a distraction, and while that Border Patrol agent is busy processing those migrants, farther on down the line, mile or 2 miles, however far it may be, that's where the real action is. That's where a big group can be passing through the mountain. That's where the drugs are getting trafficked through. They've got this down. Okay, they've got this down, and they use the drones up above, kind of like eyes in the sky. Just like he said, they tell the migrants follow the drone, and you know, if they're crossing at night, the drone, it's just a flashing light, and the migrants go through the desert in the darkness, follow the drone, okay? They also watch from a camera. Sometimes that drone will have a camera, and they can tell where Border Patrol is in whichever direction that they've got it turned, and then they know where they can send those people, where it's safe, where it's clear, because they know the border is undermanned and practically wide open, okay? It blows my mind that there are still people out there that have no idea what is going on down there. They clearly don't surf YouTube, and they don't watch my channel.
3 out of 15 people
3 out of 15 people what?
know that there's a crisis.
Yes, like 3. Yeah, Mr. Atomic, I think he's actually correct on this statistic. 3 out of 15 people think or understand that there is a crisis on the border. We have, in this day and age, we're so busy as people. We have our heads stuck in our phones. We're busy at work, you know, taking the kids to soccer, grocery shopping.
We're complacent.
Yes, thank you. The peanut gallery is speaking. We're complacent in our lives, and we don't want to be upset by what's going on down there. Well, let me just tell you, you're gonna be upset when it ends up in your backyard. Okay? I do believe it was Arizona, an article that I saw on AZ Central, where some guy's sitting in his yard and there's a bunch of...
It was El Paso.
Oh, it was El Paso? Okay, thank you. It was El Paso.
An affluent neighborhood.
Yeah, in an affluent neighborhood where you think you're safe, right? It doesn't matter what state you're in. It doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in, whether it's fancy or not. But these migrants came running through his yard, and he thought he was going to get jumped. And we've seen it before, like on security cameras in the news, you guys. I believe it was a lady's house. This is one that I'm thinking of, where they caught him on the security camera. A bunch of migrants just running through her backyard, running from somebody, running, you know, cutting through. If you think it's not gonna affect you, you're wrong. And when it does, I want you to come back to Atomic News TV and comment on one of my videos and let me know, hey, Laura, you were right, because I guarantee you I am right. And I am literally going into the frying pan, right? We're going into the frying pan as we move to Arizona in about a week, okay? We leave on the 29th, and though we see a different kind of migrant here. It's more like from other countries, I would say, here in Illinois. I mean, granted, we do get them from south of the border, but we get refugees, Syrian refugees, wasn't it? Yes. And now I'm literally going into the frying pan, no pun intended, because it's hotter than hell there. But it did snow in Arizona. Pine Top today. Yeah. I think today I could have worn a jacket outside, and I'm going to be going to 100-degree weather. Where all the migrants are. Yes, I'm going to be reporting straight up myself. Not only on the border, but in Phoenix, in Mesa, in Yuma.
There it goes.
Everywhere.
You're good.
What?
You're good.
We're good? We're good. Okay. So you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. Jim Benvie is probably the easiest interview anybody could ever have. He makes life so easy. I love the man. He is just, boom, it rolls off the tip of his tongue. It just, he continuously, like, he is just such a plethora of information about what's going on down there, and the truth, okay? I don't think I'll ever have that easy of an interview ever again in my life as Atomic News. Like, you guys literally just watch me go, See, because really, I know all the answers to this. I mean, I know Jim. I mean, I've only talked to him like once or twice, but I know Jim. I mean, he's part of our group, Guardian Patriots. I've been listening to him for months now. I know what his answers were going to be. This was more for you guys because I know some of you are new to my channel. Some of you have been around since the beginning of Atomic News. But you watch these videos and sometimes you'll see bits and pieces, or you don't see the video prior to the one you're looking at that led up to this one, and so there's sometimes questions that you have that don't get answered. Okay. And I pay attention to my comments. I know it's getting harder and harder for me to do that as my channel gets bigger, but I pay attention to my comments. And I understand that you guys get confused sometimes, especially the new people. They don't understand that I am Atomic News. And I, as Atomic News, am connected to various groups and put their footage onto my channel. The biggest one being Guardian Patriots and Jim Benvie. Pretty sure I'm his biggest supporter. So, I've been trying to make that more and more apparent, as moving forward. That's why tomorrow night, you guys, if you enjoyed this live stream, you're going to enjoy tomorrow night too. I just want you to know. Jen from AZ Patriots is going to be on the live stream. Okay. And, she's a big talker too, but I have a feeling I'm going to have I'm going to have a few more questions lined up for her because, Jim is just amazing. Not that Jen's not amazing. She is amazing. And that's why I'm going to have her on my show. But you guys, if you guys have any specific questions that you want me to ask Jen from AZ Patriots tomorrow night, I want you to go after this live stream and flip over to the community section and find my post. You'll find it. It's got the American flag. And I want you to put your question in that post that has the announcement about AZ Patriots being on the show tomorrow night, okay? Because I will, I obviously can't ask her all the questions, but if there's some good ones there, I'll ask her, okay? So she's a riot, you guys. Did you see my video last night that I posted from her footage? Okay. There's a little bit of a difference, just so you guys know, between the Arizona desert and the New Mexico desert. I mean, let's just say a big difference. The difference is the garbage. Now, I'm not saying there's not garbage in New Mexico, but when you get to Arizona and you go down to the border in Arizona, that desert is full of shit. Okay? Pants! Like me and Mr. Atomic were just dying watching this video. Pants. Like, okay, these migrants, they don't come over the border with no pants on. Okay, they ain't be walking across butt naked. Okay, so why there are so many pairs of pants on the border? I don't know, other than
they're getting wet when they're crossing the river.
Thank you, Mr. Jump the Gun here. When they cross the border, when they cross the river, okay, they take off their wet pants and they put on their dry pants and they leave their old pants in the desert, okay? That's not the only thing they leave there, though, you guys. There's, shirts, there's water bottles, there's dirty diapers, there's backpacks, there's medication, you name it, okay? They found condoms and lube. I shit you not. I'm not taking any phone calls. Shush. I'm sorry, whoever that was. I didn't plan on taking any phone calls. I mean, I guess I could.
It's up to you if you want to.
Oh, now I just told that now I just declined that call. Shit. I didn't intend on taking any phone calls. I kind of just got caught off guard. But okay, so what Jen did, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow night, she collected several bags full of pants, okay, that were left in the desert. She brought it back to a shelter and donated them back. And I got to give this girl some credit, you guys. I got to give her some credit. One, because it's brilliant, but two, because she like kept her cool. She's like, "Oh, no, no, no. But I brought it back for them. They left it in the desert. They forgot it. So I'm bringing it back to them. We know it fits. So that's good, right? Here." Like it was brilliant. It was brilliant. Like, I'm pretty sure that's probably one of the most brilliant things I've seen come out of the border. Oh my God, you guys. Like, it could be 10 years from now and I could see that video or talk about that and I will still laugh my ass off, okay? But that's the difference between the Arizona desert and the New Mexico desert. Pants. And we're going to talk to her about this too. There's a difference between the Border Patrol. The agents are very different. And I'm going to talk to her about this. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Now, she doesn't know yet. I'm going to send her over my questions tonight so she can get ready with her answers. But one of the questions I'm going to have for her is in regards to the different personalities between Arizona Border Patrol and New Mexico Border Patrol. Because I'll tell you right now, it's night and day. Yep. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna take any phone calls. Wait, is somebody coming? Oh, wait. Okay, this person's trying again. Hold on. Let me just give this person a... Let me see if it'll let me. I don't know if it's gonna let me. I think this Text Now app isn't working. What area code is... I mean, where is area code 972? Hey, whoever that was that... Is that California?
I think it's California.
I don't know. Whoever that was that called and...
California or Texas?
I don't know. Area code 972. I'm gonna give it to you. Why don't you call back in? I'll give a couple more. I'll give a couple more minutes on the live stream to see if you call back. Oh, is this you? Hold on. Yep. Hi, this is Atomic News.
Hey, Maura, this is Kurt.
Hi, Kurt. I'm glad you called back. I was like, oh, let's have this person call back.
Thanks for taking my call. I'm actually in Albuquerque right now, going through some training, and they had a late kind of winter spring storm. There's snow in the west of Albuquerque.
Yes.
And snow in Purgatory. So if you're traveling, be sure to check your routes.
Okay.
It's actually cool here and raining today. It's like 48, 50 for a high. Very, very different day here.
We're having some crazy weather over there right now. It snowed in northern Arizona, and it snowed there. And I know down where Jim is, it's windy, crazy windy.
Yeah. And it's just be careful because we're having bad storms. I got to head back to Texas tomorrow, and they're saying there's tornadoes and really bad spring storms going through Oklahoma right now.
Oh.
So just check your route. That's why I wanted to call you.
Okay.
But
okay.
I actually graduated from high school in Albuquerque in '78. I haven't been back here in 41 years, and man, Albuquerque has grown.
Different, huh?
It's crazy. Very, very, very different.
Well, since I have you on the line, what do you think about what's going on the border right now?
I thank God for you guys that are telling us the truth, and I'm hoping to get in the position with myself and day trading and whatnot. It's going to take some time, but I really feel for what you guys are doing. We're kind of like in the days of Nehemiah. You know, Nehemiah had to rebuild the wall in Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the same problem with the young generation then. And that's what's been going through my head. We're having the same problem now. These kids don't know how to relate to our country. Like, whenever I drive across the desert, Maura, I say to myself, these first settlers that came across here in horses and wagons, pregnant women with children, snakes spooking horses, no GPS, no maps, no cell phones. Man, these were brave people.
Yes.
Very brave people, and I think our country is just getting so soft that it's ridiculous. And I really hope that they can get some kind of arrangement with the gentleman to fix that area down in the bowl.
Yes.
Because I'm sure you know that President Trump said, he said to the migrants, I wish they'd call them illegal immigrants, he said, migrants, do not get too comfortable here. I'm going to invoke the Insurrection Act. You will be going back. You'll be deported soon.
Please, Jesus.
And yeah, he said this on Twitter 3 or 4 days ago. I was like, thank you.
Well, I'm gonna be doing a video on Wednesday about the Insurrection Act. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. I wanted to let everybody on the live stream know that I had a huge response to that post in the community section. You all want to know about the Insurrection Act, so Atomic News is gonna do it.
Well, here's an idea for you guys. If somebody can possibly track to see, here's my fear, and I pray that I'm wrong, but I was on with Randall 2 weeks before this last shooting on the anniversary of Columbine.
Yes.
And I said to Randall, Randall, I pray to God that I'm wrong, but there's going to be another shooting.
Yeah.
2 weeks after I said that, blam, it happens. And I said, and as the weather gets warmer and they start having the music festivals, there's going to be another mass shooting attempt because they want to take away our guns.
Right.
But here's what I was going to say about the illegal immigrants coming across. So they release them into the cities. We know that there have been Al-Qaeda cells here forever and ever. What's to say that they don't have large caches of weapons stored, and they try to do a Red Dawn takeover of our country?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard about that as a land, correct?
I've heard that mentioned a lot of times on my channel. A lot in the comments. Red Dawn. Yep, you're right.
12 confirmed.
I mean, we're in scary
training camps in the United States.
Scary times, and I wonder if somebody is showing these videos, Oscar L. Blue's videos. I mean, he walked straight from Tijuana into our country.
Yep.
And I'm just like, wow, what's going on here? And I like what he said. He said, when President Trump shut down one lane of the border to prove his point, he said it hurt Mexico big time.
Oh, yeah. That'd be a wake-up call to them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And
do something about the caravans or we'll shut it down.
Yeah, I say shut it all down.
Right.
But what hurts me is these parents giving up their kids for $130.
Yep.
To be accompanied by somebody the family doesn't know.
Yep, it's sick. It's disgusting.
And so we're going to have a whole generation of these displaced kids that are going to grow up psychologically and spiritually wounded.
Yep. You're right. I've said that before. You're right.
And then Randall showed he likes to translate to Spanish news because he's bilingual.
Yeah.
And have you seen the pictures of the new design of the wall?
Of
it's
where?
It's going to be of the wall, especially down towards Tijuana.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, towards San Diego. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be jet black with paint design to make it hot. So think what happens when illegal goes up there with bare hands and tries to climb up on it. They're going to get second-degree burns. And then they said, make the post rounded. And President Trump said, baby, make those things pointed like spikes.
Right.
And barbed wire in between. Ain't no way nobody going to get over that wall.
Yep.
But
they'll find a way, I'm sure. But at least it'll be harder.
Is the 2 years that we have the House, why didn't they get this done then on the budget?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I think Rand Paul is deep state. I see him flip-flop back and forth too much. I don't trust Mitch McConnell. He's a crybaby snake. He said 8 times he went uphill those stupid Karen, you never did. You know, who do we trust now?
Mm-hmm.
And then they were going to dump the illegals over into Florida. And Florida passed State Bill 618 that says we are no longer a sanctuary state.
Yeah.
And they screamed and they said no.
I saw an article on that, how they're like, and now we're not sending them. I was like, oh, like, interesting how that works, doesn't it?
Yeah. And,
All right,
so
hon.
I was up in Espanola having a little me time, if you get my drift, and I met a very interesting gentleman there. Hopefully after he gets what he gets, I'll be able to have a conversation about it, but I'm respecting his privacy. But he said, you don't dare put a Trump sticker on your car over here. Too many illegals over towards that area.
I have a Trump sticker on my car, and I'm going into the frying pan. That should be interesting.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you called
Be
it.
sure to tell Jim, be sure to tell Jim Benvie and the other Patriots down there.
Yes.
I'm trying to put myself in position down the road to where I can hopefully financially help them. Tell them that my hearts go out to them, and I thank them for what they are doing. You know, I don't want them to think that nobody's not watching their videos or anything.
Oh.
But we have to somehow get President Trump to see these videos.
Oh,
He needs to come and make a trip down here
he
and
knows.
see it.
Trump knows. Trust me, sweetheart. But I'll let them know that you're watching and that you appreciate everything that they do down there, okay? And you have a good night, okay?
And tell them that they're my thoughts and my prayers.
All right. Well, I'm glad you called in. You have a good night, okay?
Hey, you too. Be sure and check out your route and weather, please. Definitely wanted to get that information. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
Mr.
by the
Yeah.
way, one last stuff. You do realize they're geoengineering our weather, don't you?
Oh, yeah. That's a whole nother live stream, though, sugar.
Yeah. You can tell that I know a little bit more than the average bear.
All right. Well, keep watching, and thanks for calling in.
All right. You have a safe trip.
All right.
Stay blessed.
Bye.
Bye.
He's a nice guy. Oh, yes. Do I know about engineered weather? Yeah, it's Mr. Atomic's job to route our road trip to Arizona. You know, when we moved here 5 years ago, we came during hurricane season. I'm okay. Tornado season. And why we keep trying to cross the country during tornado season, I don't know. Yeah. But I think we went right through Oklahoma last time, right? And Kansas.
Just the panhandle.
Oh,
We
and
came
Kansas.
straight across
Yeah.
Kansas.
If all my shit gets blown away, then, well, the U-Haul's insured. So, okay, guys, it's been a long live stream. I felt so bad that I declined that phone call. I'm like, call back. But I'm not going to take any more phone calls. I just shut off my phone. So that's my burner phone, you guys. I'm so, as Snafu says, this is ghetto. But you know, we got to do what we got to do. Snafu, I'm so glad you are still with us. You and Mr. Atomic are the only two moderators I think that are still with us. This has been a long live stream though. I got to give my other moderators a lot of credit. They've stuck through a lot of live streams and for a long period of time. So I'm not knocking them in any way, shape, or form. I appreciate them. And I appreciate Mr. Atomic being here next to me. And even though he's the peanut gallery sometimes in my ear, and I'm like, would you shut up? He's laughing. So Snafu, did you get to play around? You're gonna have to let me know if you figured anything out. See, now when you live stream and all that, now you can tell your moderators what to do because you actually been in here firsthand and you've been able to push all the buttons and you can tell them how it rolls. So you guys make sure you're on the live stream tomorrow night. Oh, there's a freaking fly in here. Jen from AZ Patriots. Oh, you guys think like I say it the way it is and I'm outspoken? This girl, she gonna tell you the way it is. She's going to let you know about everything that's going on the Arizona border, specifically Yuma, because she's been in Yuma every weekend for the past 8 weeks. So she's got a lot of info. You guys make sure you hop over to the community section and put your questions for her in that section. That way I can add them into the questions that I'm going to ask tomorrow night. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night, same time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we will live stream again, and we'll do this again. I know, I thought about doing live streams every night this week while I'm off and getting ready to move, but then I'm like, God, I'm tired. Like, it's been a long day of packing and cleaning, and it wears on you, and it's only day 1. Lord help me through this week. Anyway, hope you guys all enjoyed this. Thank you again, Jim, if you're watching later on. And thank you for doing this. And you guys all have a good night. And I'll catch you next time.